Welcome to today's vlog. Today I wanted to do something that I don't do as much as I would like to do, and that's review gear, because I really love gear. I'm 100% a gear slut. And today what I was going to review was this lens right here. This is the, I'm going to read it to make sure I get it right. It is the Vivitar Series 1 28 to 90 millimeter 2.8 to 3.5. It's actually just a really great lens for general everything. I don't have any complaints about it, is what I should say. It does have some pluses, it has some minuses, so you get your pros and cons. I mean, you gotta have them. There's always a switch out on something, right? But overall, I actually give this particular lens a pretty good review, I think. Let's just go through its characteristics. First of all, 28 millimeter, pretty good and wide, but not as wide as I sometimes want. For example, right now I'm shooting at about 15 millimeters, somewhere between the 14 and the 25 on this little lens I'm shooting on. And the 28 it felt a little too tight. I wasn't able to get a really good, just normal close-up or medium shot without being far enough, like being so far away from the camera that I couldn't see what I was shooting. So shooting vlog style content, this is definitely not it. It's just not wide enough to be able to, unless you have a pretty good sized monitor to be looking at to check focus and things, then this would work. But for handheld with this, running around shooting vlog type content, I wouldn't recommend it because there's no built-in stabilization in the lens, and it's going to be very difficult to hold it out far enough to get your shot. That might be different if you're shooting on a full frame sensor. You would probably find a lot that you had a wider shot, like you would get the true 28, but on the Micro Four Thirds that I'm shooting on, there's a big enough crop factor, it's just going to be impossible. So that's it for the just like angles there. What I'd really like to look at is the macro focusing, because I love macro shots. And when I started using it, at first I was very, very happy with what it was putting out. Once I got them into post, I realized that there are issues with chromatic aberration with this lens. They're not terrible, but there is enough that if I were shooting professional macro shots, I might question myself using this lens a little bit. That's not saying I wouldn't use it, I just would be very careful with it to be sure that I was not separating out colors where I didn't want colors separated out. I noticed that it did tend to have a blue shift with the chromatic aberration. The blue was what was separating out more than the other colors. The last thing that I wanted to talk about with this lens was the Bokeh or Bokeh, or however you decide you want to pronounce it. I don't really care. I think it's really, really pretty on this lens. It tends to be pretty close to round when you're open to 1.8. Somewhere around 3.5 and 4, it starts to get its hexagonal shape. It's got 6 aperture blades, and it doesn't bother me at all. I think both are actually really pretty. So if bokeh is your thing and you want to get really nice bokeh with this, if you want really round stuff, shoot it at 1.8. You're gonna have to do some stuff to your other settings to get it right, depending on your lighting situation, but hopefully you'll be able to figure it out. If you want that hexagon, all you got to do is just pop it to 3.5 or 4, and you still have really, really out of focus elements that have a very pleasing hexagonal shape. That's it for this lens. I really, really like it. It's a pretty sweet lens. I'm excited to use it on some more shoots, especially when it comes to the out of focus elements on maybe some nice headshots and stuff like that, because I think that those will really shine with this lens. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you a little bit of information about the lens, and I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.